This year, I focused on building just one habit and it changed my life. This is a great time to see what positive intention that we would like to set for the next year. But before we decide on that intention, that goal, it is important that we check what worked really well for us this entire year. For me, the focus was building my health. There are many things that I tried, like anyone would do. So whether it is exercise, it is breathing exercise, yoga, food habits, a lot of things. What worked well for me was to start having early dinner in between 6 and 7 p.m. Before this, my habit was to have dinner around 9 or 10 o'clock and then binge eat by watching something till the time I'm up. That can be 12, midnight, 1 in the morning, or a little later also if I'm very active. Wasn't doing me any favor. I decided to work on my health and then slowly went into a space where I can have dinner only between 6 and 7 p.m. now. After that, it becomes very difficult for me to eat. Now, this change was, of course, not very easy. This was quite a bit of transformation for me. And the transformation helped me a lot. Now I feel much more high on energy. I feel great health-wise. I feel that I'm much more light and general focus has improved. But it is not only that, it is not the health. I realized that by changing this one trait about myself, my confidence improved. I was more focused on my work. I was more creative with my work. I was reaching out to friends and family members and, working on relationships. So my entire world pretty much changed just because I worked on one habit. And I want to replicate this in other parts of my life. And I wanted to do the same for you. Let's sit and see how was it possible. So when I reflected, I saw a few things that really went my way. And I think that this is something that all of us can easily do. The first thing, which is most important for all of us, is to choose the habit. Now, we of course have goals. For me, the whole goal was health, and the habit that I worked on was to have early dinner. For example, next year your goal or the goal can be about be a better listener. And the habit that you can pick is to pause for 3 to 5 seconds when you're listening to someone, or especially when you have the urge to speak while somebody is explaining something. And that's a habit that you can build. Now, once you have decided on the habit, the second step is consistency. We all have heard that consistency is the key. It beats talent. How to be consistent? When it comes to habit, you can associate your habit with a number, a smell, a taste, person, human. Associate with something that would trigger and raise this alarm in your mind. Now I have to implement this habit. For me, it was the number 7. So I have to have dinner by 7, not at 7, not around 7, but my preposition was quite fixed. It has to be by 7. It means when it is 7, it should be all wrapped up. And it really helped me build that consistency because I had that alarm in my mind that, I can't do any meetings during this time. I cannot push this meeting further ahead. I have, my calendar blocked to have dinner. It was very important for me. Now, this can be done in other forms also. For example, when you're looking at improving your listening skills, one association can be, when my team comes to share anything, I would take 3 to 5 second pause before I throw a question at them, or before I go back with a solution, or before I suggest something. I will pause to listen. If you're someone where there's a particular person when they come and speak, that is where you overspeak a lot because you're excited, maybe that person can be your association, that this is where I would take 3 to 5 seconds. The moment you take a mental note of it, it becomes very easy to follow. And that is how we build consistency. We tie it with something else. Backup plan. Even with the best of intentions, we need to have a backup plan so that when we miss following through a habit, we do not just fall flat. We have a cushioning of a backup plan. When I started building this habit of having early dinner, my backup plan was, if I'm not able to have dinner by 7, I would have much lighter dinner later. So maybe a soup or a salad. So I would not feel very guilty. I knew that this is a backup plan that I have. So on days when I could not, I would go to the backup plan. Similarly, when let's say you're working on listening skills, one of the backup plans can be, if I overspeak, if I sort of pause a person in between instead of I pausing, I would say something like, I'm so sorry I spoke in between. Could you please repeat? I'll just pause. Or if you have realized it a little later, you can always say, this is what I understand from what you were sharing. Please tell me if I missed something. More than the speaker themselves, this is for you. So you tell yourself that I went back to the backup plan. So it is not that I did not listen. I course corrected when I had to. The perfect score. Now, no matter how much of backup plan we have, intention we have, focus we have, determination we have, we can still fail. And that's absolutely okay. No one is going to get a perfect score here. In about 6 months, when I was building this habit, there were days that I could not follow through either my original habit or the backup plan. So neither could I have dinner at 7, nor did I have lighter dinner later. But I did tell myself that, this is an exception. It has happened probably once or twice a month. I would not think over it. I have to just ensure I do not do it again tomorrow. And there has to be a solid reasoning behind it, not just my mood. So this thought that this is an exception and not a norm is very important to keep on reminding yourself when you miss the mark. Do not punish yourself. Do not completely let go of the practice. You have made so much effort in building the habit. Do not let go of the routine that you have been building. Forgive yourself and tell that this is an exception and not a habit. Right? So that is it. I think that these are pretty much it. But you would realize that this is not easy to follow. It is very intense work, whether it is picking the right habit, building consistency, having a backup plan, or not to chase after the perfect score. All of it needs a lot of time, energy, effort, focus. And that is why I personally feel it is very important that we work on one habit at a time. Once you feel that you have mastered the habit, that you have got into the space where you can do it without even thinking, that has become a part of you, then move on to the next habit. So go ahead, work on your habit today. Feel proud of something that you have built in yourself in the next 6 months, so that when we meet again in 2024, you would have something to feel great about yourself.